Welcome to the Explainer. We've got a lot to talk about today. There's a big weather system brewing in the Bay of Bengal, and it's gearing up to dump a whole lot of rain across several states. So let's break it all down, where it's going and what it means for you. All right, so a new storm in the Bay of Bengal. What's the deal? There is a ton of energy building up over the water right now. Let's really get into it and figure out exactly where all this rain is going to end up over the next few days. Okay, first things first, to really get a handle on the forecast, we've got to go back to the beginning. Look at where this thing actually comes from. It all starts with a very specific setup in the atmosphere. So everything starts with this thing meteorologists call a cyclonic circulation. You can just think of it as a huge spinning mass of air. Right now, it's sitting over the northwest Bay of Bengal, and, this is basically the seed, the starting point for everything else we're about to see unfold. And this thing is not going to stay weak. Nope, it's on a fast track to get stronger. The models are showing a pretty quick intensification. It's going to go from a simple low-pressure area today, then ramp up to a depression, and finally a deep depression, all in the next couple of days. This is the whole journey right here. So this is the million-dollar question, right? Where is this strengthening system actually headed? Because the path it takes, well, that decides everything. It determines who gets slammed with the heaviest rain. Okay, this timeline really lays it all out for us. You can see it gathering steam over the water for the next 2 days, and then, bam, it makes landfall on September 26th, right between Visakhapatnam and Bhubaneswar. But here's the kicker. Look closely. As soon as this one's done, another one starts spinning up on the 28th. We're in a really active pattern right now. So, let's zoom out for a second. How does this one system affect the bigger picture? Well, it's pretty fascinating, actually. It creates two completely different effects on our monsoon patterns. It's a real dynamic situation. So what's really interesting is how this one system has two totally different effects. Think of it like a giant engine, just sucking up all the moisture from the sea. On one hand, that's going to supercharge the southwest monsoon, bringing some really heavy rain to the west coast. But at the same time, because it's hoarding all that moisture, it's going to cause a bit of a temporary break in those usual afternoon thunderstorms you see in other places. All right, this is the part I know you've been waiting for. What does all this mean for you? For your specific spot on the map over the next 24 hours? Let's get right into it, state by state. Let's kick things off with Kerala. With that southwest monsoon getting a major boost, the state is definitely in for some significant and pretty widespread rain. You can see here the real heavy hitters are going to be in the north. Kasaragod and Kannur need to be on high alert for sure. As you head down the coast, the rain eases up a bit. The central districts are looking at moderate to heavy rain, and then the southern areas will get off a bit lighter with just some showers. Okay, moving up the coast to Karnataka, a very similar story here. A lot of rain is on the way, and some areas should really prepare for some intense downpours. It looks like the bullseye for the most intense rain is going to be right over Kodagu district. But heads up, Bidar and Gulbarga will also see some pretty heavy spells. And even major cities like Bengaluru should get ready for some moderate to heavy showers over the next day or so. Now, let's talk about Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Because they're closer to the storm's path, they're looking at a much more significant and longer-lasting rain event. So Telangana really needs to brace for the long haul. We're talking a multi-day event here, with heavy rain and thunderstorms expected for maybe 4 or 5 days straight. For Andhra Pradesh, the immediate concern is the next 24 hours, moderate to heavy rain, especially focused on those central and northern districts. And finally, let's head down to Tamil Nadu. The forecast here is a little more complicated, kind of a mixed bag of rain for some, and still pretty hot for others. So the big takeaway for Tamil Nadu is really the variability. Down south, it'll be cloudy with some light evening rain. Over in the Western Ghats, places like the Nilgiris and Valparai could see a few heavy spells. And then, for the northern districts, including the Chennai area, you can expect widespread light rain, but there's a chance for a few pockets of moderate to even heavy showers. So, what's the bottom line here? This system is going to be the main weather story for this week, no question. But as we saw a little earlier, the story doesn't just end when it moves ashore. So look, the main thing right now is absolutely this week's storm and all the rain it's bringing. No doubt about it. But the fact that another system is spinning up right on its heels means we really have to stay on our toes. And that leaves us with the big question for next week, right? Are we going to see this whole thing play out all over again? We'll definitely be watching. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.